I'm Sooji. I didn't grow up climbing. I sort of got into that a bit later in my adult life, so in my late 20s, and got into it really hard, really fast. Spent a lot of time in the mountains, especially pushing harder technical climbing. I think it was the first thing I ever found in my life where I realised, yes, this is what I want to do. And it's definitely the thing I've done in my life that I've ever had the feeling, and this is what I was born to do. Quite early in my climbing, well, in my Alpine climbing especially, we decided to have a bit of a social trip up Mt Rolleston, which is a pretty classic day trip from Christchurch. And so we were kind of just having a bit of a good time out with a couple of friends. The last snow had come through about a week before that. So we kind of went out not really thinking that there was going to be much danger, and also didn't really pay much attention to what we were actually seeing when we were out there. So we're going through quite a bit of snow from the bush line, and it was very, very soft. We were climbing up a ridge, sort of up this little gully, and we had a slab release below us with the crown wall, so the top fracture of the avalanche was somewhere around a metre or less. It was kind of a creepy moment because it was such a soft slab avalanche. It didn't make much noise, it just kind of hissed off the ridge, and we all looked down and we're like, ooh, that's not good. Even if a small avalanche takes you off your feet, you're not ever coming home. It drops straight down into the river off that ridge. So basically at that point we just decided to turn around and go home. Like we weren't going to go any further. One of the most distinctive things that stands out for me about that day is we had noticed how much snow there was. We'd noticed how unconsolidated it was, and we'd also noticed the point where it started becoming more cohesive, because that day was fine. It started forming these snowballs on our shoelaces that were kind of funny to us. We should have realised that that meant something was changing within the snowpack that we'd started out in. We'd failed to pay attention to what was happening around us. With managing avalanches, we have a number of heuristic traps or human factors, just the most common ways that people make poor decisions. That can include factors like familiarity. It's somewhere you've been a lot of times. I mean, for us, this was Arthur's Pass. It's our backyard. You know, we're comfortable in the terrain, so maybe we don't look at it quite as considered as we might if we were going to somewhere completely new to us. Acceptance. Like, you want to make friends with people, you want to be accepted as part of a group, especially in skiing or climbing. People might push things past what their actual level of comfort would be just because they want to be accepted by the group. Commitment. You've decided you're going to go to the top, so you fail to see the information that tells you you probably should be turning around. If we've already decided on what we're going to do or what we think something like the avalanche hazard is, we're going to pay more attention to the evidence that confirms what we've already decided, and we'll fail to notice the things that are telling us we might be wrong. And also the expert halo. That's normally when you've got somebody who knows a lot more than the rest of the group, so everybody looks to them to make the decisions rather than everybody having similar input. You want to find a stable snowflake. You want the conditions to say that you can continue with your objective, but we do have to go out looking for the pieces of information that might tell us we may need to be a bit more careful. I just think the more we think about things like human factors and heuristic traps, the more likely we are to notice when we're starting to get feelings like, oh, I just want to get home, I'm tired, or even just starting to rush, make decisions quickly. I think the more you think about that, the more likely it is you're going to recognise those feelings in yourself and stop and think, oh, hang on a moment, might need to slow down a bit here to be able to actually make a better decision.